Hi, I just wanted to do a very quick tutorial sharing some strategies for using the teacher dashboard in Pear so you can see what students are individually doing, whether students are in a self-paced activity or you're doing this as a full class, or if after class you want to go back and see results. So I'm going to start by just going into a session that I've already done. And how I got here was, here's my main Pear screen, peardeck.com, and I'm going to sessions now, and I'm going to just go into one of the sessions. So if I click here, that'll open a previous session. If I click here, that will open a previous Pear Deck. So I'm going to start by opening the session, and you can open that in Projector view, and that's what you usually share with the class, or you can open the dashboard. If you open the dashboard, that's where I'm going to see my individual students, how they've responded to this question. So I can choose what view I want. I can choose the list view or the grid layout or the overlaid layout, which is terrible for this question type. But because I'm in the teacher dashboard, I do see student names here. Of course, if I go to these three dots and I open the projector in a new tab, this is where I'll see what I usually project in front of the class, which is anonymous results. Let me take you the other direction. If you're in class and you're sharing this on your projector screen, you can go ahead and freeze your projector and then just go to the three dots over here, open dashboard in a new tab. And that dashboard is your teacher dashboard there, where you'll see individual student names with all this information by slide. If you're in a session that's in student pace mode, so right here, this one is on student pace mode, you'll get some additional information such as where students are. So I can see one student is on this slide, and if I hover over it, I'll actually see which student is there. I can see one student is on this slide, and I can see that 6 students have completed it because they've gotten to the end here. So this is a way for me to monitor where students are, which slides they're on, and I can then click on it and kind of see what they're doing in real time as they are doing it in whatever view that I want to be in. So I can see this information as class is happening, or I can just go and review this information afterwards. And how I do that is, again, I would start at the Pear Deck home screen, go ahead and log in, click on your sessions, and then just click on the session that is still open. So that was the session here. It was in student pace mode. It was still opened. So I usually just click on the session right here. And when I went to end it, since I'm in student paced, it makes me make sure that I actually want to do this. And then I would be able to publish the takeaways for students. So before I close, this is kind of how I handle things in class. So I usually make my Pear Deck ahead of time, and then I'd go to start presenting. And then I would have students join right here. Then I usually lock the projector while students are joining, and I go over here and I open the dashboard in a new tab, so that now I have my session in one tab, and then I have the dashboard in another tab. And then I would move them to the next slide, which this is just a blank presentation right now, but then I might freeze the projector again, see how individual students are responding in the teacher dashboard. Then I go back to my projector mode. Then I usually lock the slide so that I get all students paying attention to what I'm saying, and then I project student responses and we talk about it. And I do also quite often use the countdown timer. So if you just hold down on the lock, I could set a timer for a minute. So I will very often just kind of give them 1 minute to do a little warm-up question. It'll lock the responses, then I show the student responses, and that makes it easy for me to manage everything. Remember that you can go between the different layout views, so you can have a list view, you can have a grid layout view, or you can have an overlaid view. The overlaid layout view works really well if you have a draggable question type, so just keep that in mind while you're going through things. And then when you're done with stuff, you would just end the session, and that's it. If you need to then go back after class and review the dashboard mode, which I very often do, I focus on the projector mode during class, then you just go to peardeck.com and you go ahead and you log in again, and you go over to your sessions tab and you find the session that you had closed, and you just go back. So this session right here, it's closed. We finished it, but I just click on it and I open the dashboard view, and now I can see how individual students responded to the various questions. I can analyze that, see what I need to do with that information, meet up with individual students, and yeah. That's about it. I hope this information was helpful to you and gave you some tips for best using the various options in Pear Deck.